Yo, what is up, YouTube? So in today's video, I want to talk about how to get over job rejection. This is something that I've dealt with personally on numerous occasions. I can't tell you guys how many times I've been rejected, either through an automatic reply or from a recruiter saying, hey, we love chatting with you, but for some reason it's just not the right fit, or it's not the right time, or thank you, but no thank you. And so, there's a lot of tips and tricks that I think are out there that you can consider. But today we're going to take a look at an article that kind of goes into a few tips, and I think they're really helpful. And I want to add on sort of my own insights into it and give you guys my 2 cents on it. So the title of this article says, Lessons Learned from Job Rejection. It says, job rejections hurt, but the lessons you learn from it can move your job search forward. First and foremost, understand that not even your dream job is perfect. Very true. It's easy to romanticize a job and company based on what we read or hear from them, says career coach Marlo Lyons. But setting realistic expectations is key to not getting let down. When faced with rejection, it's also important to reflect on your values to ensure you're applying to jobs that will be fulfilling. In addition, you should, number 1, dedicate time to improving your interview skills. Number 2, incorporating feedback you received into your strategy. And number 3, discover what self-care practices help you heal. Yeah, so let's take a look at these one by one, guys. So dedicating time to improving your interview skills. The way I kind of see this is there's always things you can do to improve yourself, whether it's adding new skills and new tools to your tool belt or to your resume, or spending more time doing mock interviews and getting really comfortable to the point where for me, I did so many interviews where it didn't even faze me anymore. It didn't scare me. I didn't even get nervous when I physically went into the conference room or jumped on a Hangouts and said, hey, nice to meet you. And, bring your toughest, most difficult questions. The more you practice interviewing, the better you're going to get. And I can't tell you how valuable it is to do mocks with people, with your friends, or with career counselors, or people who do this for a living. There's this framework, I forget what it's called. I think it's STAR. Situation, task, action, and results. If you follow kind of that framework and you have a list of scenarios that you've experienced in the past and you practice those over and over to the point where you've memorized it and you don't even need to try to remember it, then the response that you give in an interview setting will be much more natural, will be much more authentic. You have to make sure, of course, that you don't come across as robotic, and you want to have some personality, but improving your interview skills is definitely going to help you get the next job you want. Number 2, incorporating feedback you receive into your strategy. Oftentimes, for me personally, what I like to do is always learn from my experiences. There's many times where I didn't get the job, but I was still curious, and I followed up with the hiring manager or the recruiter, and I asked them, hey, are there things that I can do to improve my chances of getting the next role? Or, is there any feedback that you can provide me? And I'll tell you guys this, most companies will not preemptively give you feedback, or even if you ask them, they won't give it to you because they don't want it to be a liability for them. They don't want a situation where you might come back and say, hey, I didn't get this job because this company is racist, or this company looked at my skin color or my sexual orientation or whatever. And so most companies are pretty good about this, but from time to time, if you really have a strong connection with the recruiter or the talent sourcer or someone on the panel, they might be able to give you some insights. And I remember I did this a couple of times, and I would say roughly 10-15% of the time, they do come back and they provide some really valuable feedback that I then take into consideration. And then I add it to my training and my practice for the next round. Ask for that feedback, because if you don't ask, they won't offer it up. And so that's my 2 cents on this. Third, discover what self-care practices help you heal. Yeah, for this one, some people are much more sensitive. They're much more emotional than others. And if you really, really put a lot of time and effort into an interview and you don't get it, I can see how that can be very traumatic. And so the way I kind of look at it is, it took me a while to get to this point, to be honest with you guys, but I finally got to a point where I just didn't care. And I kind of embraced this mindset where I was almost looking at it as if, hey, I need this company, I need these people on the panel to try to impress me and convince me why I should join the team. And this gave me sort of the mental edge that I was looking for. And as I started to embrace that, I just became much more natural, much more relaxed in the interview situation. And it just helped me also just get over situations where I didn't get the role because I didn't emotionally invest in it. I didn't really care that much. And I was just like, you know what, on to the next. Find what self-care practice works for you. For me, this is exactly what I needed. And this was kind of the medicine that I needed to get over a tough rejection. But there's a lot of tips out there. Figure out what sort of style works best for you, because everyone's different, and incorporate that for the next round. All in all, guys, interviewing is a skill. It is something that takes time, and it's also a numbers game. There's 1,000 jobs out there, but there's also tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are just as qualified, who might have more experience, who are also competing with you for those same jobs. And so it's going to be very difficult, but it's just a numbers game. And sometimes the stars align and you might get that opportunity. Sometimes it doesn't. And so what I try to tell people around me, people who are coming up in the industry or students or people who want to make a job pivot, play the field. Don't just apply to one role and think that, hey, this is the only role that is out there for me. Apply to a bunch of roles, especially now with the recession happening, guys. You have to be less picky. And when times are good, obviously there's a lot more opportunities. And if you're in an industry or in a job function where your skills are in demand, kudos to you. You probably won't have any troubles, or you probably don't even need lessons to recover from job rejections because you're probably not even getting any. But for, 99% of us, we definitely struggle with this. Realize that it's a numbers game, that a lot of things have to align for you to get the best chance to get the role. And sometimes there's a lot of things outside of your control that you just can't manage. And, don't stress over those things. Sometimes companies just make the right hire because they have to fill a diversity quota, or there just might be someone who said the right thing in an interview and that person is getting extra brownie points because they're able to connect with the hiring manager. Who knows? All you can do is focus on what you can control and what you can manage. And those are the things that you should be focusing on. Anyways, guys, those are kind of my thoughts on some of the lessons that you can learn from job rejection. Let me know in the comments down below if you have additional advice that you want to share with the community, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.